Good morning, it's February 25th, 9:44 a.m. I'm going to go over this little snippet that I got from online, and I put the JavaScript code in a tester web page, and I called that, I hit right click and hit edit with Notepad. I called this measure window.html because that's what this JavaScript is going to do. It's going to measure the height and width of my window, which is my window right here. Not this one, but the one I'm going to open up in a browser. So I'm going to go over the code really quick. Let me open this up. HTML, head, title, measure window. Here's a script set of script tags, end of head, body. In here, in this paragraph, that's just a note from the website about the code, about the JavaScript. And down here in this paragraph tag, there's actually a link that calls the function that's in the script tag up here, and it's a text link, so that when you click on the text, it actually calls, instead of the href linking to another web page, it says JavaScript alert size. So it's calling this alert size function, which is what we're going to go over, function alert size. So this paragraph down here is actually what tests the JavaScript itself. It calls the JavaScript, and the JavaScript does its job of determining the width and the height of your window. End of body, end of HTML. Let's go back up here and let's go over that script. A keyword function, because we're creating a function, it's got the name alert size. It starts off by creating two variables. It's creating var my width equals 0, comma, my height equals 0. So we have two variables that are set to 0 here. And then we have some if conditions. If this is true, then you're going to do this. If that's not true, then it's going to go to the else if. If this is true, then you're going to do this. And lastly, if neither one of those are true, it's going to go to this else if and say if this is true, you're going to do this. And after all of those ifs, it's going to wind up doing this for sure. It's going to give us window.alert. So it's going to give us an alert box. The words are going to say width equals, and then it's going to give us a value of my width, whatever the value of that variable my width is, and then it's going to concatenate \n, which is going to take it down to a new line, and then it's going to say height equals, and then it's going to concatenate the value of my height. So our window alert box is going to say width equals something, go down a line, height equals something. So the first thing it's going to do is for non-Internet Explorer browsers. That's why it's got this note. This note right here says it's going to do this for Internet Explorer 6 and up in standards compliant mode. And then the last else if is going to be for Internet Explorer 4 compatibility. So let's go over the first if. If type of window.innerWidth is equal to number, and again, if this is true, then we are dealing with Chrome, Firefox, anything that's not Internet Explorer. We are going to set the value of my width and my height, which we originally set to 0. My width is going to be set equal to window.innerWidth, and my height is going to be set to window.innerHeight. This is the code to set the values of the inner width and inner height of the window for any browser other than Internet Explorer. If that's not true, you're not using that condition, that's false, then you've got this else if that's going to deal with Internet Explorer syntax. So that's saying else if document.document element and document.document element.client width or document.document element.client height. Well, this is supposed to be compliant with Internet Explorer 6 and up in compliance mode. If that's what you're using, Internet Explorer 6 and up, in compliance mode, then my width will be set to document.document element.client width. That's the syntax statement. And my height will be set to document.document element.client height. So let's say you're using an older Internet Explorer. Then we've got this else if. So if document.body and document.body.client width or document.body.client_height, whoa, then this is how you're going to set the values of my width and my height. My width will be set to document.body.client_width, and my height will be set to document.body.client_height. So you see how with each of these browsers, they're using different syntax. This is document.body.client_width. This one is document.documentElement.client_width. And this is just window.innerWidth, which if you ask me, this is non-Internet Explorer syntax is a lot nicer to look at, a lot more concise. All right, so I went over the different types of browser conditions and then how you would set my width and my height for each of those possibilities, what the user might be using. And I showed you that you finally come to the window.alert, which gives you the words window equals with a value, a new line, height equals, and a value. So let's just run it. Oh no, let's not run it. We can't run it yet. I just showed you the function. That's the end of the script, the end of the head. Now we got to go to the body. We have to test the function. I have to prove to you that function works. First of all, this is not proving it. This is just a note. And the note says, this algorithm will fail with Internet Explorer 6 through 8 in standards compliant mode and all versions in Quarks mode if the window is shrunk to 0 pixels by 0 pixels. This is only possible when the user actively shrinks the window to hide the page within it. Even then, it will just give the height of the document instead, so it should not be a problem. The following code performs the algorithm as described. So that's just a note, and because I thought I might need to understand that later, I kept the note in this test file as well. This is the test. The test isn't the paragraph with the words tested here. This is just the output to show us. Technically, I could take this out, I could delete this, and I could delete this. What I have to make this work is everything in between, what I've got highlighted right now, which is a link that calls the script we just wrote. And the link is aref equals javascript : alert size. That's calling the function. And then the text that you click on to make that happen is get the inner dimensions of this window. And there's the /A, which is the ending tag of the ending link tag. End of body, end of HTML. So now that I've got the part in the head, which is the function in script tag, and now I've got the part in the body, which is the link that calls the function, let's run it so you see how it works. I'm going to launch it in Firefox first. Move this out of the way. Okay. There's the note that I told you that doesn't really mean anything unless I have a future problem, and then this will explain it to me. Here's the paragraph tested here, which we really don't necessarily need. What we have to have is this link. Get the inner dimensions of this window. When we click on the link, it's going to call the function in the head. So we click on it, and we get this alert box. The width of this window is 736 pixels by height of 584 pixels. At least that's what Firefox is telling us it is. Now, if I take that same page and instead of running it in Firefox, let's launch it in Chrome, I can compare the two browsers. I'm going to take this Chrome page and I'm going to try to overlay it over top of Firefox to the best of my ability. It's not going to be perfect, but I'm going to get it as close as I can. Oops. I want to try to make it perfectly over top. And might as well try to get this perfect. Alright, I'm not sure how perfect it is, but it's as close as I need to get for this example. So let me click get the inner dimensions of this window. So Chrome says the width is 740 and the height is 623. And this, let me run it again, 736 and 584. That's quite a bit different, right? 740 and 623 versus 736 and 584. Without changing the dimensions of these two, I'm going to slide them side by side. Show window side by side. And run it again. Oh, actually, the dimensions have changed. I hit OK. Get the inner dimensions of this, 790 by 778, 784 by 739. You can see that this browser has an extra bar right here. So the window of this is of course going to be shorter. You can, because this bar starts way up here and this one starts way down here. If I move this down to try to level them out so that both windows start at the same time, then we get the height of 742 and the height of 739. Now that's really close. 739 to 42, you're talking about 3 pixel difference. Not a huge deal. The width, this is 784 on this side, this is 790. So even though this is supposed to be half and half, it's not perfectly half and half, but it's close. So you see that, you know, the code is working for both browsers relatively close anyhow. So I'm going to use the code. I'm going to use it in Medicine Ball. And the reason being, when I run Medicine Ball, what happens is I'm dealing with 2 web pages at the same time. Okay, this right here is Medicine Ball with no other page involved. All it has is a navigation at the top and an iframe at the bottom, which there's nothing open in it. When I click on one of these image links, it's going to open an external web page, 1.html. It's going to open up down here. So I'm going to click it. I'm going to open up one. Now you see 1.html in this iframe. Do you see the difference between the width of the iframe and the width of my main page? My Medicine Ball page is wider than the 1.html page is. So because of the difference of that width, I was having a problem with I gotta turn this sound down because it's distracting. It was causing my ranges to be to have quite a bit of a delay as I would open and close the width of the page to see visually when it would grab the next size style sheet. And this is the medium style sheet. It's got a yellow background. I go in more, it's going to pull the orange style sheet, which is the small style sheet, which is the orange background. And then if I open it a lot, it's going to pull the large style sheet. You know, this is the home page, and this is an external page opening up inside. When they pull the right sheet, the colors change, and I couldn't get them to perfectly change at the same time. I couldn't get medicineball.html and 1.html or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way to 11.html. I couldn't get them to simultaneously grab the style sheet. So I wanted to get that lag a little closer. So what I did was I took that code that I just showed you, and I put it in both the Medicine Ball page here, Medicine Ball page, in the body. I'll run it again. I'll run it in Firefox. This is just Medicine Ball by itself. In the body, see, I've got the nav right here. Here's the HTML head, link, title. Here's a link range. 1 to 700 pixels will grab the small style sheet. 701 to 1000 will grab the medium style sheet. And 1001 to 50,000 will grab the large style sheet. Those are the ranges for the home page. And this is what grabs the sound JavaScript file, end of head, beginning of body, This is where I copied and pasted the test that I used in measure window, the test right here that says tested here href equals javascript colon alert size. It calls the function. Well, I put that exact same thing here, calling that function. Well, now I have to put that function somewhere that Medicine Ball can point to. So I thought the thing that made the most sense was, since I already am using an external JavaScript that allows me to hover over these image links and hear my voice say what the exercise is, and then when I open up the page it automatically loads a song as the exercise is playing down here. I figured, why don't I just copy and paste that function in that JavaScript? So that's what I did. So I went to sound.javascript, which really had the function play clip 1 all the way to play clip 11, and then further down it had function music 1 all the way to music 11. Well, I just made myself some space and I gave it this additional function, the function alert size, which I already went over in that measure window test page, which I can just shut this off now. Again, function alert size, var width equals 0, my height equals 0. If type of window.enter width, again, if we're dealing with Chrome or Firefox, then it's going to set my window and my height by using window.enter width or window.enter height. Else if you're using Internet Explorer 6 or up, then my width is going to be set this way and my height's going to be set this way. Else if we're using Internet Explorer, this would be the condition for Internet Explorer compatibility. And if you're using Internet Explorer, then you're going to set your width and your height this way. And then you have your window alert that gives width equals plus the value of my width, a space. The next line, and height equals plus my height. Exact same thing that I looked at in that test page. I just copied that function right up here in sound.javascript. So I know that Medicine Ball will point to it, and 1.html all the way to 11.html will also point to it because it has a link to that sound.js script. Okay, so in Medicine Ball in body, here's that test link. So right here, all we see is Medicine Ball. Nothing else is opening up in the JavaScript. I'm going to click this. I have a width of 784 and a height of 739. I don't really need to worry about the height. All I need to worry about is the width, because my style sheets are different based on the width. Okay, so this is 784, correct? Let's just not change the size of this window. Hit OK. Go on ahead and click my triceps image link so that I open my triceps page, which is 1.html. So I'm going to click on it. 1.html opens. Let me stop this music. And they're both yellow. What I did was, in Medicine Ball, the maximum width of the smallest web page was 700 pixels. Medicine Ball is supposed to open up the next color and the next size, the medium style, this style sheet, once it hits 701 pixels. So I wound up trying to find 701 pixels because of this. That's 784. I want to find 701. So I squeeze the page until I find 701. 700 should take me to the small, which should give me an orange background. There's orange background. I'm pretty sure I went way too far. So when I click this, it's 669. So I want to go a little bit bigger, trying to find 701. Let's try this. 704, just a little too big. Go down a little more. What's this? Probably 700, 698. Do you see how tedious this is? Try to find perfection, because it wiggles. Let's try this. 701. Okay, so now I got my Medicine Ball page to be 701 pixels, and this down here is my 1.html. So let me open that up. Now this is the measure window.html that I tested it. I want to find my 1. I don't have it open. Let me get it. Okay, it's in box. And 1.html, let me right click, hit edit with notepad. Okay, so there it is. Here are the ranges for my 1.html. that I'm trying to compare to my medicine ball. My medicine ball I'm not going to change. I'm going to leave that home page with the navigation the same range. 1 to 700 for the little one, 701 to 1,000 for the medium, and 1,001 to 50,000 for the large. It's this that I'm trying to bring in closer. So I go back to this first page because it's the only one I'm dealing with. In 1.html, here are my ranges. There's my meta refresh tag that makes this bounce after 2 minutes, 120 seconds. Here's the script tag that points to that sound.javascript, which now, because I put that alert size function, one will be able to access alert. So I have to also, after the body tag, put that tester. That's why you see tested here. This top tested here goes to the main page called medicine ball, and this one right here is actually opening up in 1.html. Tested here, and it's the exact same code copied and pasted in a different page. So now when this page 1.html we click, that width is 670. This I have to hit OK. The main page width is 701, which again, my main page medicine ball, that's the range I'm working on. When it hits 701, I want it to open the middle one. So therefore, I want it to coincide. When medicine ball is 701, I want this to be what this is now. And this says the width is 670. So when I tested it before, I tested this to be 663. I think I was using Chrome. So I do have a variation between Firefox and Chrome. So you want to do all your tests in one browser and leave it, because if you keep testing from Firefox to Chrome, these numbers are going to keep changing, because when I did it before, this was 670, and then I tried it in another browser and it took it down to 663. So it's not a perfect world. Like I said, I'm just trying to get it a little bit closer. That 2-minute time frame went and it bounced to the next page. So for this browser, I would change, if the main page is 701 and then I check the secondary page being 670, then I would say the minimum width on 1.html would be 670. That's when it'll change. So then I would change this also to 669. Okay, now I've went from small to medium. Now let's figure out what I need from medium to large in the same browser. So I'm going to stretch this until it turns green, and in the medicine ball home page, it's when it turns to 1,001 pixels. So let's see when I find 1,001 pixels with this top. There, I missed it. I'm trying to find it. Perfect. There, passed it again. All right, the dimensions, there's 1,002. Let me go down just a hair. Let's see. There's 1,000. Open just another hair. 1,001. Okay, so when the main page is 1,001, the iframe opens at 955. So that means that when this is looking for 1,001, when the main page is looking for 1,001, the external is going to be looking for 955. And this was pretty close. What I had it at before was 954. 955, which means this will be 954. So now, although medicine balls range for the small style sheet is 1 to 700, the external page that opens up in the iframes range is going to be from 1 to 669. And then while the medicine ball goes from 701 to 1,000, the external page that opens up in the iframe is going to be 670 to 954. And then it goes from 955 to 50,000, while medicine ball goes from 1,001 to 50,000. So We've tested this by using the test for the dimensions of the window. Let me save it. And again, it's not a perfect world, but I'm trying to get the delay as minimal as possible. So when I make this smaller, it should turn yellow closer to simultaneously. And when I get even smaller, it should turn orange as close to simultaneously as possible with the way that I'm presenting this, with one page that opens up another in an iframe. It's, like I said, not perfect. There's a little bit of variation between browsers, but it's closer than it was. So I'm kind of happy that I found that code that allows me to read the sizes of my browser so I can change my ranges accordingly. What I want to do now is I really don't need to keep this tested here stuff. Let me turn off the sound. Wow, it's like stuck. Pause the sound. Let me go here. The P tag, there's two things I could do. I could completely delete it out of Medicine Ball and One, or if I want to possibly test it at another time, I can just put the beginning comment tag before the P tag and then the ending comment, so that I keep the code here for future reference on how to do this. And if I have another problem in a different type of program, I'm like, oh, I know I found that code to do that, and I don't want to like Google it again because I already have it, then I could just have it green, commented out for future reference. And I think that's how I'm going to do it. Medicine Ball ranges don't change because that's the home page. Only thing that's changing is the ranges in the external sheets that are going to open up in Medicine Ball's iframe. So 1.html, I've already gauged these new numbers, so I'm just going to right click it, copy it, and I'm going to go to my Medicine Ball folder right here, go in box, and all the rest of my web pages, which are 1.html all the way to 11, I'm going to right click that, edit with Notepad, and I'm going to give them all the same range because they're really nothing but copy and paste anyway. So starting here, instead of 1 to 700, 71 to 1000, and 1000 to 1 to 50,000, I'm just going to highlight all of those, right click it, and paste. Now we have the new ranges that apply to the external pages that open up in the main pages iframe. And not a perfect world, but an improvement to what it was. And so that's good enough for me at this point. And if I only changed it in one and not the rest of these, then I would still have that longer delay between the main page and the iframes pages. So I have to put this in all of them. Eventually, when I start looking up how to do Ajax, it's a different type of coding, I'll be able to minimize so many pages, and I'll just be able to have certain sections open instead of so many pages with the same code repeated over and over and over again. Alright, so let me go here. Now I've saved all of the new ranges in all of the new external pages, which means that I can open this and I can test the both of those pages to see if they grab it a little closer to simultaneously. Yellow, I'm doing this fast, so if there is a little bit of a delay, you're not really seeing it. See, there was a delay. You saw that delay. And let's click another page. Whoa. Let's click the trampoline page. All right, now let me go from small to large. They're both orange. Hopefully they'll both be yellow almost the same time. Well, there's the delay. And another delay. But I think it's a little bit better than it was before because it seemed like there was a worse delay before. And stop it. Stop. All right. So I just wanted to share that little tidbit of code in case it helps anybody else.